everyone, it's Faiza. I am about to launch my first episode of Campus to Careers series, interviewing Raghav, who is a master's student at RMIT. I'm about to sit down and have a coffee chat with Raghav. So we'll go inside. We're at Workshop Brothers Cafe, and they have the best coffee, one of the best coffees. So I'm about to try that, and let's begin. Well, Campus to Career, episode 1 with Raghav. And Raghav, as you know, I'm Pfizer, mentoring, career coaching, even consulting from time to time. And we met, a year and a half ago? It's been a while, exactly. So what we're doing today is just some very keeping it casual interview questions, just trying to understand your perspective and how you have your take as an international student in Australia. So I'll be asking you a series of questions and we'll go from there. How does that sound?
That sounds perfect.
Sounds good. All right. So let's start with some icebreaker questions. So my first question is, firstly, tell me a little bit about yourself. And I do understand you recently landed on a role, so congratulations, but I'll let you talk about that. Cool. All right.
So my name is Raghav Goswami. Prior to being a student again, I was working at Deloitte for nearly 3 years, getting my hands dirty in consulting. And now that I've joined a new role as a software information consultant, right, I am planning to obviously leverage my expertise in this area and bring a great amount of business for the company that I'll be working for. That's my inspiration, to be honest. That is a quick intro about me. That's right. Just finishing up my last semester. Thank you for that. So the title would be specifically Software Implementation Consultant. Very much similar to a BA role, if you much aware of it. I'll be helping clients implement new softwares or existing softwares, so obviously aiming to improve the productivity, and with the sole motto of the company and mine would be improving or increasing the customer value. Keeping at the heart of consulting, customer is the key.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So some icebreaker questions just starting off is, if you were to describe your university experience in Australia with a coffee order, that is, what would it be? For example, like a double shot espresso or intense or short black. What would you?
See, that gets me a bit of in the way of thinking. If I may say, I love to drink matcha as well. I would say I'd order matcha. Why? Because it brings with a bit of honey in it. It brings the sweetness and savory experience together, and that's what my university entire experience has been.
Matcha with the sweetness. Fantastic. Excellent. All right. And the next question would be, what was your first thought when you had your first interview in Australia? So as a candidate, it could be any role that you applied for. You had the first interview, whether it was casual, part-time. How did you take that, and how was your first interview experience?
Obviously, I didn't get through my first interview for obvious reasons, but yeah, my first interview was for a retail team member position at Liquorland, if I may say the company name. Coles Liquorland, and so that was completely new to me. Obviously, retail is a completely new thing for me, and probably I wasn't prepared much. I didn't expect what they were going to ask me, and that's probably one of the reasons I didn't get through that interview, to be honest. But then later, I had another interview, and I cracked that as a retail team member. Thank you.
That's good. I wish I was there at the time, but here we are now.
Oh, you've been there the time we met initially. You've been there.
Thanks, Raghav. Now, what's the funniest or most unexpected reality shock moment? So, shock moment you had work-wise, cultural shock-wise, or professional environment, or even Aussie slang. What can you think of?
Oh wow! So my first job, it was a retail sales assistant. Shock would be obviously people coming in and saying jargon stuff that I wouldn't understand initially at all.
Yeah.
And then probably 3 days a week down the line, I was able to get that, the introduction, the goodbye greetings and everything. It was hard for me, to be honest. But actually, I was on YouTube as well, trying to learn the Aussie slangs, to be honest.
Really?
That's a secret I'm letting out. But yeah, because Aussie English is a bit different from the Orthodox English. But gradually went through it, and obviously customers that came in since the start of my store, they've been there throughout, and they love me as a person. The way, as in I speak in their language, it's kind of the same thing now.
Oh, fantastic. Excellent. Thank you so much. That's amazing. Now, With your academic and career insights, so how different was studying in Australia compared to where you were studying back in India?
Well, there are major differences and sometimes a bit minor as well. I did my bachelor's in mechanical engineering. I know it's a completely different world to where I am now, but engineering is very different back in India. It's completely focused on theoretical concepts, getting your knowledge and everything from books. Like we used to have loads of books, I'm telling you. So we used to stay in hostels, right, back in India, and we used to have just a small desk, probably around this coffee table,
Wow.
and this would be probably three-fourths of it just be books.
Wow.
And the same thing when I came to Australia, and probably it's been some time as well. The people here are more into what you learn by practical knowledge or practical application.
Yeah.
That's one of the key things that helped me retain the stuff that I was learning here.
Fantastic.
Because I'm saying, for example, the first semester I had this course named Business Systems Analysis and Design. It's a bit overwhelming, but it's a bit simple.
Yeah.
And there I learned about all these process maps or diagrams,
Yeah.
and that the way I applied resembling a practical situation that helped me in my current role as well. Even in my previous role,
Yeah.
I used the same thing. I went through my laptop, went through all of the assignments I submitted, the diagrams I had done. The same thing in work as well, in my current work. That's a big difference, exactly.
And was it very different?
As compared to the Australian and my native context, it's a bit different. Why I'm saying this because, as I was mentioning, right here people are more focused on building your practical skills up to the industry standards, right?
Yes.
And that has helped me, actually made it easier for me to apply that context to a real world problem, a real world professional situation.
Yeah.
Back in India, obviously, the things you learn they are applied, but you need to have on top of the theoretical knowledge, you need to have that hands-on thing, right?
Yeah.
And you do that with your own self-learning
Yeah.
capabilities.
Yeah. No, thank you for learning and your experience as well. So that's amazing. Another thing I wanted to find out also is what was the most fun thing in the university life in Australia? What did you do at university? Most fun thing?
I'll just say one word: pool. I play a lot of pool, as in the billiards.
Oh, fantastic.
So at RMIT, we have the space where there's the pool table, and you'll see a bunch of kids, much younger to me, to be honest. They're hanging by the table, and I love to play pool. And when I take my shots in the pool, they look amazed and everything. There's a pro player coming into play. That gives me a sense of confidence in there. That was the most fun part I did. And on top of that, obviously the beers outside RMIT. We got the Oxford Scholar Hotel. That's the go-to place for us hanging out.
Fantastic. Amazing. All right. If you could change one thing about how international students are supported, what would it be?
Now, so I think there are a couple of things, but yeah, to be honest, if I could pick one thing out of it, would be giving the international students the motivation they need. Especially, I've been through everything that happens for any international student. I've been in the lot, you know. Hope, luckily, and with my obviously hard work, I was able to penetrate the job market. But international students need the sense of motivation from someone or from probably university, maybe government initiative, and that will help them or actually improve the mental state that they are in, because obviously you will get, I'm saying a small number, 50 to 100. This that goes a lot more. My count is above 300.
Oh wow. Yeah, yeah. And you going through the transition of moving from another country.
Exactly. Shock, yeah.
Shock.
International students, they on top of their current study load, right,
Yeah.
they're always in the lookout to get a role for themselves, just to have stability in their life, right? And it's a tough part down the road, and they need to have that mental state. I'm saying this because, or do I say, mind state, or I have a few friends who have been in a bit of an anxious or depressed state, and this is a major problem which needs to be tackled in the
And I'm
best
sure
way.
universities have their own hubs and then they try and promote that too. But what you're saying is it needs to be promoted a lot
Exactly.
more than it's already
The
there.
reach is probably,
Yeah.
for me, the reach is not going to the expected or the right ones.
All right. No, thank you for that feedback. That's amazing. So my next question is, what one skill you've learned in Australia that you think it will help you the most in your career?
Just one would.
Working. That's the way.
I'm telling you, so back before I came to Australia, I was not this kind of person. Going for a coffee chat, having a chat with someone, just like this, a very similar scenario. But yeah, networking helped me. Initially, it was tough. I'd be very honest. Networking is tough when you're at the start, when you want to approach someone to talk, you don't know what to say. but you got to break the ice as fast as you can. And once you get into it, you won't look back. You won't be timid or you won't feel anxious about approaching someone. And that's one skill
That's a
that
very
remain for the future
golden
for sure.
no, thank you. So now we're outside.
It's beautiful here.
It is beautiful in here. Someone's having their birthday party, so we had to stand outside for a few questions, which is actually good. It's a beautiful day today. So I had a question around some SWOT analysis, like your strengths, weakness, opportunities, and threats. So what would you say your strength you've gained or you've discovered while studying in Australia and even working in Australia, Raghav? Would you say that would be?
Got a few strengths to be honest, but to pick one, it's a bit tough. But I think my ability to learn something really quickly that helped me a lot, be it in university, be it in my current role or my previous role. I was able to take a hold of new softwares very quickly, and that's one thing that I would really suggest many other students get a hold of that, or even to learn that skill. It'll surely help them in their journey to land a new role. Just for example, there was a course in my first semester where we had to learn this new software, and not many students were up to take that challenge. And I think I did that really well. It ended up good for me. My professor, he really enjoyed the assignment that I submitted, and going forward, even my new role, it helped me a lot, especially.
One of your strengths. And what about work-wise? What would be your strength that you've gained as well while working in Australia now that you've got such a great experience working?
A good strength would be I'm able to understand people now after being in Australia for a couple of years. I know, especially my retail experience, that helped me a lot understanding people over here, understanding the Aussie slang. That's one of the strengths that obviously will help me interacting with clients, especially in the consulting industry.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So going from strength to weaknesses now in the SWOT, and what would you say? I'll look at my question here. So one challenge or weakness you would say you faced as an international student, and how did you overcome it as well?
Obviously, this is a very tough question to answer, my weakness. But yeah, one thing which I noted during my journey was I got a bit anxious at times. And I'm not that kind of person who gets anxious or who gets sad at times. But this whole journey, this whole process made me feel a bit anxious. And this is one weakness that every student will face or will have at certain point of time, and it's very important to overcome that weakness. Actually, I saw a reel on Instagram. It was mentioning about trust the process kind of thing, and yeah, that really brought me to my toes and helped me overcome whatever feeling I had emotionally or mentally. And yeah, that's a weakness that we need to, all of the students, be it international or even Australian, they need to get over it and just given their all of their hard work to what they're doing it for.
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree with that. Thank you so much. On that note, I think they have finished with their birthday celebration.
Oh, yeah.
We might catch some cake. We're going back inside. Thank you. This is going on. This is good. All right, so let's talk about some of the opportunities. What opportunities do you see for international students in Australia?
That's a very wide question you asked. It's booming now with the kind of roles that they have. Obviously, it's a very tough job market, and you need to find your niche skills to be ahead of your peers or maybe your competitors. So, opportunities obviously would be, say, for example, I'm from the consulting background or I'm in tech as well. I saw this opportunity of there are a lot of LinkedIn job posts about business analysts, about data analysts. When you see these opportunities, right, you get a sense like I might belong here. That's when you start locking up your shoes and getting into it just to crack that opportunity. And be it in any field, I'm saying, for example, even HR. That's a big field now, and with the current AI stuff that's coming in, HR is booming now. Probably go into further heights.
Yeah, yeah. So essentially, what you're saying is there's a lot of opportunity for roles and
Exactly.
basically.
And it's
Yeah.
completely subjective. You need to find your own opportunities. You won't be given that by Australia or by any other country, to be honest.
So thank you for that. So, what threats or challenges do you think international students need to prepare? So, what you have learned in your span of the time in Australia, what advice would you like to give that they need to prepare themselves so that will become?
So, advice is a different thing. I'm talking about the threats here, to be honest.
Yeah.
Obviously, one thing is that Australian people or even the international students coming here, they are well prepared about what's in Australia. So you need to get up your communication skills. You need to be very, how do I say this? You need to be very clear in what you say and what you do.
Yeah.
and that's one threat because you need to be very good at your work, and that's one threat which I think international students need to focus more on in improving their networking capabilities or even communication skills, especially the soft skills, to be honest. They might have, let's say, overlooked it in the past. Yeah, this is a bit serious when you're looking actually for jobs in a new country.
Even in a technical role, you're saying that you need to be able to articulate your point. You need to have communication skills.
Any role, they always have a technical round and the soft skill or HR round, which behavioral questions. And you need to crack that to get a job, to be honest.
So final round under aspirations and messages. So what do you see yourself? Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?
But yeah,
Where would we see you in 5 years?
see me. So before I started my journey, right, I had a goal in mind. I want to be an enterprise architect down the line. I had this set in mind, and that helped me halve the path towards the enterprise architect, and obviously be in a leadership position at a company. Probably love to be in the same company for years. Even back in Deloitte, I'd been there for 3 years. If I enjoy the work I'm doing, if I enjoy the company that I'm working for, I'll be there for a long time, and obviously aim for a leadership position in there.
And then now with your masters and so much academic experience, that will just come in naturally as well. The more
I hope so.
exactly, and it will build up to that. So good luck with your 5 year plan. And what advice would you give to students coming to Australia now, international students coming to Australia? Even if you had to put it in a sentence, what would you think that would be?
Be prepared, but be chill about it. Don't be stressed at all. Put in your hard work, and you'll obviously get the results you're expecting. Very short and keeping it very simple.
And in terms of one message to Australian employers, recruitment consultants, what would you give that message? What would you like to pass on?
Well, obviously, one message which I pass on, not to all of them, but for some, is that follow the skills or just focus on the skills of the person you're hiring. Don't let conditions like visa or their past experience or even a gap in their experience be a factor in the hiring process. Make it simple. You want people to work for your company, you want your company to grow. Choose the right candidates with the right skills. That's what I think.
And one last question. If you had a chance to sit down with the Australian government or key policymakers for 5 minutes, what would you ask or suggest to them?
Well, there are a lot of things which has been coming to mind for the past 2 years or so, but obviously they are doing a great job bringing us international students into their country, giving us opportunities to study, giving us opportunities to work. But from a government perspective, I'd obviously suggest taking care of the international students that's coming in, taking care as in not personally, face to face, but have certain initiatives that help international students feel they belong here. Obviously, there are many things that's going on, be it meetups or private meetups and everything. But if the government can initiate some kind of, what do I say, government thing, government initiative, to be honest, for international students, and this might not be focused on international. Any student can come and express their experience, because I feel the Australian economy would flourish if they have both of them working together towards whatever they want to achieve. Exactly.
Where they can articulate their point.
That's a major factor, to be honest. That breaks down a lot of people. Even I'm talking about Australian students as well. I have a few friends, I have a few colleagues who are going through the same process as international students, and they are breaking down as well. So it's not just confined to international students, but all students in general.
That's a great point. Thank everybody and Raghav especially for taking the part in episode 1 and being part of this Campus to Career series with me. Thank you so much, Raghav.
Well, thank you to you as well. I'm very excited to be a part of this series, and this is something new and exciting that you're gonna embark on. And I wish you the very best for it. Hoping as many students can come in and join you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And the coffee was amazing. So Workshop Brothers South Bank, come and try out their coffee. Very good.